Now, so 2027 is around the corner, and I hear people say that since Raila said he's back to Kenyan politics, he might be in the ballot. And I think that's the question so many people are having. Will Raila attempt presidency again come 2027? Remember that Raila has been in the face of opposition politics for decades, and a 5-time presidential candidate, a key figure in Kenya's democratic struggle. But guys, it's 2027, the right time for him to step aside. And in this episode today, I wanted to break down this rhetoric question, because I personally think that Raila should not vie in 2027 for the seat of the presidency, and I'll be sharing my reasons with you in a short while. First, you see, let's break down Raila's political journey, a story of near wins and heartbreaks. Number one, Raila Odinga has contested for the presidency in 1997, in 2007, in 2013, in 2017, and in 2022. And each time he has been coming close but never clinching the top seat. In 1997, Raila finished third but gained political momentum because it was his first attempt in the seat of the president, and obviously it will have given him more momentum as we head ahead. In 2007, arguably it was his best shot because I think that is the election Raila won, but the disputed election led to post-election violence and a power sharing deal. That was when kulikuwa na prime minister position when him and Kibaki ruled this country. In 2013 and in 2017, Raila lost to Uhuru Kenyatta, with both elections heavily being contested in the Supreme Court. But the court, first time it upheld the election, the second time it took the people back to the ballot, but still Raila was defeated. In 2022, despite the government support, because the president was supporting Raila, that is Uhuru Kenyatta was supporting Raila, he lost to William Ruto, and that made a significant shift in his political influence. Fast forward, he has come to form a broad-based government with the same government. He lost the AU chairmanship. Now he's back into Kenyan politics. So the question is, what will be different for Raila in 2027? And the question personally I have is about political fatigue, and I ask myself, is Kenya really ready to move on? Because one deniable factor is political fatigue. You see, Raila has been a dominant political figure in opposition politics for nearly 40 years. Many Kenyans, especially the younger generation, the Gen Zs, the Baby Alpha, are looking for fresh leadership and new ideas. And that's why you listen to these young people say, we don't want your consultations, we don't want your guidance and all that, because they feel like Raila has been in the game for so long. It's time for someone else to take over his shoes. And that's why maybe most of them are supporting Babu, the likes of Akina Babu Owino, Akina Ndindi Nyoro, Akina Morara Kebaso, because there is that feeling that we need fresh blood in politics. I think right now politics in Kenya is generational wise, and I'll one day do a video on that, on how politics in Kenya has become a generational politics. So the fact that Raila has been in the game is that he is getting old, and the reality is one thing: Raila's loyal support base is shrinking as younger leaders emerge. Okay, even if you listen, there are very few people who still are diehards of Raila. I can say the likes of Akina not Gaito. What is his name? I've forgotten his name. But there are two guys from Nairobi who are diehard fans of Raila. But you can agree with me that Raila's loyal support base is shrinking. His key strongholds, Western Kenya, Coast, and even parts of Nyanza, are warming up to new leaders. Somewhere like Nyanza, Babuino is becoming influential. And you see, the 2022 laws proved that even with government backing, he still couldn't secure presidency. And you see, one thing that I ask myself is, can Raila really overcome this wave of change in 2027? Because whatever young people have begun doing in this country recently is not going to stop there. It's gonna continue till 2027. Now, let's check the political chessboard in 2027, which is the political strategy, because most politicians use the chessboard to plan their strategy, and see if this is different for Raila Odinga. If Raila runs in 2027, he faces two major problems. Number one, the Ruto factor. You see, President William Ruto has proven to be a political tactician. That's why you listen to his people saying right now they want to create a position for Raila in the government, the prime minister position. They know one thing: if he becomes the prime minister, he loses his relevance in politics, because Kenyans will no longer be doing his bidding. I think that's why I'm telling you, politics is right now generational wise. Most young people want to follow Raila Odinga again. People will not say, oh, sijui baba amesema, baba amesema. The second thing is Ruto has made serious inroads into Raila's traditional strongholds. He took Raila to AU, despite Raila saying it was his own plan. And right now they are trying to warm up to form a coalition. So he's really getting into Raila. And you see, if Ruto strengthens his alliance with Western Kenya, coast and parts of Mount Kenya, Raila will struggle to build a strong opposition. You know, politics is all about interest. Don't be surprised even if the likes of Akina Joho betray Raila Odinga, because they have felt the power. They are in government, they are cabinet secretaries, so they cannot afford to lose that seat in 2027 because Raila. So the Ruto factor is gonna be a very huge factor on whether Raila should run in 2027. The second thing is oppositional dilemma. You see, Raila's political power was based on fighting the government. Whenever he fights the government, they call him in, they form a handshake, they form a government. Okay? But now, his recent coziness with Ruto's administration, let's talk of the AU job lobbying, the bipartisan talks, the NADCO report. These are things that are making people question whether he's still a true opposition figure or not. Because the fact that you are in government, it means you are part of that government. If your people are in government, you are part of that government. You cannot convince us that you are in opposition. So, if Raila runs in 2027, will he even have a strong opposition wave to ride on? Because I think right now, that wave is with Rigathi Gachagua, Kalonzo Musyoka, and their brigade. And, you see, one thing I usually say is that as a man, you should protect your legacy. And here's where the legacy question comes. If Raila is to vie in 2027, the question I have is, how does Raila want to be remembered after 2027? Like, how does he want to be remembered in the game of politics? You see, he is number one, a legend of Kenyan politics. He has shaped the democracy of this country. He has fought for reforms in this country and inspired generations. He has been an icon to so many people. But if he vies and loses again, it will damage his political legacy. The same way, if Raila Odinga is gonna form a government with William Ruto, either by becoming a prime minister, of which it's all a game of interest, personal interest matter, it will still taunt his legacy in this country. Now, you see, there are two possible paths for Raila's future in politics. Number one, a kingmaker role, where Raila could mentor a successor and guide them to victory instead of him running himself. The second thing is international statements. He could take up international leadership roles like AU chairmanship or even a representative of this country somewhere and retire as a respected African statesman. So he can decide to mentor Kalonzo, take Kalonzo to office, become the kingmaker, or a very reputable international statesman. You see, if Raila runs in 2027, he could risk turning his name into a symbol of never-ending defeat instead of a celebrated hero of democracy. Remember, people usually remember the bad things that happen to you rather than the good things that you do for them. Or rather, I can say, people remember the bad things you do to them rather than the good things you did to them. And this brings me to this thing, the people's verdict. What's best for Kenya? You see, at the end of the day, the question isn't just about Raila, it's about Kenya's future leadership. If he runs again, will it divide the opposition further? Will it give Ruto an easier victory in 2027? Or should Raila pass the baton and let a fresh candidate take on the challenge? Because I think it's evident for him, the game is no longer with him. So, right now, Raila's toughest decision yet is that He has given his life to politics, but is it time for him to step aside for the sake of his legacy and for the sake of the country? Because the 2027 race is shaping up to be different, and whether Raila is in or out, his decision will shape Kenya's future. Why am I saying this? You see, if Raila supports Ruto right now, Ruto has a higher chance of winning 2027. If Raila decides to go and back up Kalonzo, like, the position Raila right now is the position of a kingmaker. Whoever he supports has the upper hand in 2027. But ladies and gentlemen, what do you think? Should Raila run again, or is it time for a new leader? Drop your thoughts in the comment section, and also don't forget to like, subscribe, share for more political insights on the Politician's Diary.